Hi, everybody. This is my cultural responsive final library project. My name is Alexis. I live in Massachusetts. I work in a preschool in Hopkinton. I have my associate's degree in early childhood education and currently working on my bachelor's degree in this field at ASU. So, what we're going to be talking about today is books containing gender, race, setting, language, sexual orientation, family structure, economic diversity. So, first we have gender characters. For the books that I pulled for this, I found that there were seven female characters, five of which were main characters, 11 male characters, nine of which were the main characters. And as you can see, a lot more non human characters than any of the other categories here. Some books I found for preschoolers to use. I have read I Am Jazz before and thought it was a great book, especially for the young children. She writes about her life, and I thought it was a very good book for the children to see. I also found Pink is for Boys, which kind of explains that colors don't have to have a specific gender associated with them. It can be a rainbow of colors for all children of the classroom. And lastly, I found a book called No Differences Between Us. It's about twins, a boy and a girl, and it teaches children about gender equality, respect, relationships, feelings, choices, self esteem, empathy, tolerance, and acceptance. That we are all the same. We may be a little different, but we are all the same. Next is character's race. I found it very interesting that there weren't a lot of race books or characters with different races, except for white and, of course, non human. I did find a lot of those kind of books. But some suggestions I found online is My Skin, Your Skin. This book empowers children to develop self love, self esteem, and self worth no matter their skin color at an early age. Another book I found is called We All Belong. This book is a rhyming poem book about respect that recognizes differences between race. Children will develop empathy and appreciate that everyone is beautiful. And I really thought that would be a number one suggestion for early childhood education. And lastly, I found a book that's called No Matter What, We All Belong. This tells a story about feeling accepted in this world, and the moral of the story revolves around children's social emotional development. And that's one of the key aspects of development when you are a young child. Another genre was researching is book settings. I found a lot of the books in my library were set in rural, urban, or suburban um, settings. You know, Clifford obviously is a big children's book. They all love these stories, and they're all um, kind of within the same setting in all of his books. Another category I thought was important is language books. Language is a big part of reading, and I found some books that from my library that I felt were um, very helpful in developing language skills through rhyming and phonics. I think that these books will interest the children in learning and enjoying these books at the same time. I found Apple Pie ABC. This book is a delicious twist on traditional verses brought to life by the author's words and whimsical illustration. And a big one in my classroom is Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. The kids love this book. It's a rhyming book that follows letters of the alphabet as they race each other up the alphabet tree. And at the end, it has the alphabet in the book, and my kids always want to sing along. Another subject I was researching is family structure books. I think family is very important. On this slide, most of the books I found that were related to family structures mirrored a typical American family. This family includes a mother, a father, and a couple of children. I was a little surprised that there was a lack of books that I pulled that showed a different family structure from what we all know as normal. And as educators, I think it is important to show young children the different types of family structures that they may encounter as they grow. Another category was economic diversity. On this slide, you can see that my classroom library had a lack of books on this topic, but I did find some suggestions that would help to improve the library. As an educator, we have to be sensitive to all children's and their families' statuses. It's very important to share with our children and help them to understand that not everyone is able to experience the same events or have the same privileges as someone else in the classroom. I found our diversity makes us stronger. This children's book contains charming rhymes and will help your child in many aspects of development. For example, this book teaches children to accept and celebrate diversity, to be kind to those who are different, to love themselves the way they are, and to boost their self-confidence. Another book I thought was interesting that I found was Saturday at the Food Pantry. This charming little book tells a story of a little girl and her mother not having enough money to buy food. So one Saturday, they visit their local food pantry, and the little girl is very excited to go and have this experience with her mother until she sees a classmate who has the opposite experience of her. She is very embarrassed to be at the food pantry, and throughout this book, the two girls are involved with each other, and they realize that everyone needs help sometimes, and that's okay. Lastly, I wanted to see about books on sexual orientation. Love is love, whether it be self-love or love between family members or partners. It is important to embrace everyone's sexual orientation. I think this topic can be a mirror and window teachable moment for young children. In my classroom, I found a book that window and mirror the idea of love through non-human characters. Big surprise. But I also found another suggestion for a book to improve my library. So the one I found from my library is Guess How Much I Love You. I think this book is a mirrored example of love between a young child, non-human character, and their parent. Each page of this book continues to show how much a parent loves their child, and they give examples, and the examples just get bigger and bigger, and that just proves how much a parent can love their child. And a suggestion book I found is called Families, Families, Families. This book is more of a window for young children, I feel like, because instead of human families, it is more whimsical and tells about animal families. It's about if you love each other, then you are a family. It talks about if you have two dads or one stepmom or the world's biggest grandpa. It discovers a whole host of silly animal families and a hilarious celebration of the love found in families big and small. And lastly, I think my library did a good job of kind of balancing mirror and windows. I do think that we had more mirror books than windows, but um, we just have to see about getting some of those books I suggested previously. For Mirror, I think that if children can immerse themselves in a book to find common ground, then they will be more interested in reading a book and more entertained. I think that the school library is a great resource to find books that cover mirror functionings. These books focus on the similarities between the readers to the stories. In my research, I found that gender, race, setting, and family structure type books are important for a reader to dive deeper and relate to the stories that are read to them. I think it's just easier when you can see yourself in a book to relate to it. And after completing the research, I think that my classroom library does a very good job at mirroring for these young children. And on the other hand, I think that most of the books I picked out for the assignments can offer windows to the children. For example, the categories language and economic diversity genres. It's important for children to understand the differences in the world, and I think these books give age appropriate examples of how to do that or how to see that in our world today as they grow older. It's very important for children to understand the differences in the world. These books are an entertaining and colorful way to explain this controversial topic to young children. And after completing this project, I have found that my classroom library might need some help to improve some of these topics for a preschool age child. So that is my final project. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you very much. Bye bye.